Okay, join me as I dive into the challenges of what it is actually like for an American to try to get a bank account here in Europe or abroad. And let's see if it's really possible. Before I jump into my specific situation and what we needed to do, let's dive into some of these facts. There is like an estimated 4 million Americans that have chosen to live abroad, either temporarily or made another country their home permanently. And around 15% of them have essentially reported having difficulty opening up bank accounts. It is either bureaucratic, it requires lots of documentation, and so forth. So there's a good amount of people that want to do this and they don't know how, and you don't know where to go. You don't know. Some accounts are much more American and foreign friendly, and others are not. So every bank is going to have their specific rules and guidelines, and some are going to be much more easier, and some are going to be more difficult and more bureaucratic hoops to jump through. So you need to check that out before you definitely make your decision. So I would argue that most Americans want to have access to a bank account here. You are going to want to have a actual physical bank that you can go into, a store, a physical address that you can go into if there's issues, if there's problems, if you need something. And also you're not going to have to keep paying these transaction fees either through Revolut or Wise. Those are the two that have like the best fees, the lowest fees, but you just need a bank here. It puts you in a more globalized economy. You're more connected. It's just easier. So those are things to consider, whether you keep your American bank account or not. Most common challenges that people face are going to be the long list of documentation that is required. It is a lot. I mean, like 10 to 20 documents. And this is going to depend on the country you're moving to, but most of the time it has a lot of documents. It's not like going to open up a bank account in the country where you live, especially in America. There's going to be legal hurdles. Sometimes you definitely need to go to a public notary sometimes, depending on your route specifically and what you're trying to do and where. You're going to need your passports. You're going to need your proof of residency, your residency card, which has your like ID number, which is your CNP, and an address or a rental contract. If you do not have your residency permit yet and you are trying to do this ahead of time while you're waiting, then you need to go what they have is their IRS office, which is their ANF, and get your NIF, your NIF number, which is like it basically allows you to legally work and bring in income as a taxpayer without a residency permit. You can do that ahead of time, and that kind of gets the ball rolling on you having a bank account, but that takes 7 days to 2 weeks to get that number. And again, you have to go to the public notary, so that's going to add, it added on for us an additional 2 weeks wait for the bank. So keeping those things in mind, this is not a quick process. I would say also, if you're opening up for a business, you're going to need business contracts that says you already have clients. It's backwards. You have to already have clients and money before you even have your bank account, but you can't have that without the bank account. So it's like a whole twister disaster. And part of the reason that this is so difficult is the US has put like very strict and tight stipulations on Americans having foreign accounts. And the banks that allow us to are under very specific protocols as to the paperwork that's involved to report it back to America. So some of the banks are like, we don't really want to deal with this. This is too much. And some are fine with it. So that sort of plays into the background scene of why this is so difficult, because you pay taxes as an American even when you're not living there. So, but there's some tax hoops of like, if you make under a certain amount, you're kind of exempt from double taxation. But America is going to tax you wherever you are. So keeping that in mind. Also, there's going to be a language barrier. A lot of these places don't speak English. Some do. So you might need to hire a professional translator. We learned the hard way. We had friends coming in and helping us translate. And then some of the times they're like, no, we can't accept them. We need a legal translator because we need to know that they're certified and they're actually going to tell you the correct information that we want you to know. So keeping that in mind as well. Some require you can have a friend, or some require no translator. You might can use Google, which has been iffy on whether it translates correctly. And some are going to require a certified translator if you do not know the language and you're not fluent. So real quick, some of the easiest countries to get a bank account in Europe here, if you're an American citizen, are going to be Portugal. That's really pretty easy. Probably number one easiest. Ireland, Netherlands, Spain, and Estonia. The harder, more challenging countries, somewhat nearly impossible, is definitely going to be Switzerland and France and Germany. Germany, I've seen a little bit on it's easier, it's not, because there's so many, it's pretty normalized, but Germany does have a lot of steps. Again, we are here in Romania. It has a lot of steps. We were able to do it, but it was not easy, not streamlined. There is no like, here's your list, this is what you need to do. You got to figure it out to go. So if you need that, you're in that situation, drop a comment. We will happily help you along with that. We've done it for personal and business accounts. So let us know if you need help, and we can gladly help you with that. And we also have some fabulous translators in case you need them, and now friends. So our personal experience is, it was tough. It took us over 4 weeks to get these bank accounts. It took lots of documentation. We had to go to the bank 4 different times for appointments to get this. People were not really willing to help. And then what the law says versus what the bank specific stipulated inside rules are and regulations do not align with the law. So what the law says and then what the bank says are not parallel. They required 2 different things. And at one point, the bank was saying that we had to do this way, but it was illegal to do it the way that the bank was telling us. And we kept saying, we can't do that. That's illegal. We can't do that on our residency permit. Like, that's not something you can do. And they're like, well, we can't help you until this is done. But we're like, but what you're telling us to do is it's illegal. And basically they were like, look, this is what you have to do if you want an account here. And at the end of the day, they weren't the ones that were going to get in trouble for doing it. We were, because we were going to be doing it illegally. So that was the biggest hurdle. And then you're required to start paying taxes. You're required to start paying your employees as a business, but you can't get the bank account. But in order to get the bank account, you need contracts. But you can't start paying people and doing these things without the bank account, because it is illegal to have a business and not use your bank account. If you have a personal account, it is illegal to use that here as an SRL, an LLC company. But you have to start paying these people before you have your bank account. So it's like really twisted and backwards. And I know that if you have your residency here first and then you get and open a bank account, open a company, it's a lot more streamlined. But that was not our path to residency here. Our path to residency was we had to already have a business up and running and paying for, then you get your residency. So that because we did it this way, which was our path to residency legally, the banks didn't like that. The banks wanted our bank account first when you open your business, but that wasn't something that we were able to do. And the lawyer didn't help us do that either, who helped us with the account. And basically the lawyer said, look, I'm going to charge you X amount of money and you might not still get the bank account. So we were like, no, thank you. We're going to keep our money and we're going to figure this out ourselves. So we had 3 different locals helping us. We ended up after the 3rd appointment, and they just like, it was just like more things and more things and more things. And yet every time we checked the box, they just kept coming back with like a different hurdle. We were like, look, we need this. So we talked to our accountant. The accountant knew someone up in the big bank thing, one of the managers. She called in, she told us what was going on. She sent our legal papers over to her so that they already knew what was happening. We walked in, went out, and we were able to open the bank account. And again, my personal account was way easier to open than my business account, because they're very high into checking whether or not people are illegally, panhandling like the money. Not panhandling, but they're like money laundering. There's huge crackdown on money laundering. So the laws here are very tight, very strict. And they pretty much want to know like what time you wake up, what time you go to bed, why you have this money, how much you have in your pocket, and why you have that much in your pocket, pretty much. So we were actually able to get it done. Super thankful, but it was not an easy process. And there is no like website you can go to that says you need A, B, C, D, E, and F. And this is what you need to bring to the appointment. And every time other things just kept coming up. And then once you get approved for your business, your account to get opened, then they send you a message. Then you have to drive back to the bank and apply for a debit card if you want to. And then the electronic accounts to like hook, you have 2. One is to pay and one is the go, and one you use for paying stuff and the other one you can't use for paying stuff. The other one is just your account balance, and one can translate into English and the other one cannot translate into English. It's only Romanian. So it's very different. Very different. We're learning it. We're grateful for this opportunity and we have learned a lot, but wanted to kind of talk about the realities of opening a bank account here in Europe. We're in Romania, but it's an EU country, so most of these things are unilateral for the strictness and some of the laws here that require this. So it's not super easy. Again, if you have any questions, if you want any help or want any more detail on our personal experience, drop a comment in the comment section below, and I will happily help you in any way we can and answer any of your questions. Please share your experience also down in the comments and let us know what country you have this experience in, because we'd like to see whether it was easier for you, it was harder for you, and what all it entails. And if you're interested in more content on living abroad and just doing something new, different, and crazy, please subscribe to our channel and follow along. We'd love to share this journey with you. So thanks. I think next we're going to talk about the car situation and how we bought it, because it is wild. I ended up not even being allowed to register my car without my husband because we are married, and it's like a whole process. So that will be up next, at least in the next couple of weeks. So thanks. Stay tuned. Bye.